Hello, Facebook. How are you? Welcome to this wonderful Monday, brand new week. A chance to clean sweep. Let's start new things. Let's focus. Let's be positive. Let's do a little to-do list of things that we can do, simple things that make a big difference. You know, sometimes it's the smallest change that makes the biggest difference, like going to bed an hour earlier or switching off your computers and your screens by 9 o'clock to make sure that your body starts resting, dimming your lights, drinking 3 more glasses of water, going out for 10 more minutes in the day, taking the stairs 2 at a time instead of 1 at a time. You know, all these little tiny things that you may think, well, that's just not going to help, is it? But when you add it all up, actually, and it's about switching the mind, isn't it? You know, the mind controls, I think, so much of how we live and how we feel. It's like, you know, I don't eat breakfast, and I'm really into intermittent fasting at the moment and have been for a while, as I've shared on here many, many times. And when I first started, I was just convinced I couldn't do it. You know, I would wake up starving hungry. But actually, no, it was just my mind. As soon as I told my mind just to keep quiet, and actually it was perfectly fine. I wasn't going to starve, and I'd have something in a little while, and I couldn't be hungry because I'd had a big supper the night before and all I'd done is sleep. So, you know, kind of get over it. It was okay. So it's often switching it. It's like if I go for a run, I've had some questions in today, thank you, which I'll talk about in a sec, about exercise. And I do actually have to tell myself I'm not a great runner. You know that. You know, you've been with me, many of you, for long enough to know that my journey into running is quite new. And I started, you know, late in life, in my 50s, never having run apart from for a bus. And now I tell myself, I go for a 5K at the weekend, and I just say to myself, you know, actually, Liz, you know, tomorrow that's what you're going to do. And I get up and I think, right, this is my 5K day. So, you know, I'm kind of prepping, I'm talking myself through it, I'm motivating myself. And what we tell ourselves is really important. And I did a podcast with a great psychologist not long ago called Dr. Jemima Fitzgerald, which I'm sure Amy, hello Amy, I can see you're on Facebook. We'll pop a link up to. Poor Amy, I always spring these things on her. I suddenly go off at a tangent. You know, we have a little chat before and she says, what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be wearing? So I can, you know, make sure that we've got a link to it and all of that. And then, of course, I suddenly decide, oh, yes, by the way, let me tell you about this. And so poor Amy, it's like, right, okay, so she's talking about podcasts now. Let me find the links. Anyway, there's a great podcast with Dr. Jemima Fitzgerald. She is just great. And one of the things that she said is that we need to talk to ourselves, literally vocalize, actually speaking it out, not just internal mind talk, but actually saying, like I'm doing to you now, talking, and say things that are affirming and say things that we would say to a friend. You know, so if a friend of ours was feeling a bit rubbish or hadn't done something in the right way, you know, we'd say, oh, look, don't worry, you're doing so well. You know, it's so good that you tried to do that. And yeah, okay, so, you know, might not have gone entirely according to plan, but, you know, good on you for giving it a go. But, of course, we don't do that, do we? We say, well, that was a bit rubbish. I don't know why you thought you could do that, because obviously you failed at that again. And, you know, we give these negative thoughts to ourselves, and actually we need to say, literally speak it out and say, actually, I know you tried really hard, and yeah, maybe it didn't turn out so well, but it's okay, and you'll do it again, and it'll be better, and it'll all be fine. Or say, you know, that looks great, or you've made that really beautiful, or something, just something positive. Can we all please say something positive to ourselves today, out loud? I know it sounds really weird and sounds really kind of hokey and kind of woo-woo psychobabble, which I'm not into at all, but there are some things that actually I think are really helpful. Anyway, a few other helpful things. I have been asked here about my coffee habits. You will know that I am a coffee fan. And this has come from Gemma on Instagram, who says, actually no, Gemma, you're asking what I do with leftover coffee grounds. Okay, there was another question that came in about coffee. So Gemma, my leftover coffee grounds go on the compost. So I've got a compost heap and that's where they go. You can also use them if you've got an issue with slugs. Apparently slugs don't like climbing over coffee grounds, so you can put circles of coffee grounds around little lettuces and all the other things, that the juicy things that the slugs like to eat. So that's what I tend to do. I'm trying to think what else you could do with them. You can also turn them into a body scrub. Did you know that? Yes. I think, Amy, I'm going to throw this one at you again. I think we have a recipe for a coffee ground body scrub. Many of you may have seen these sort of so-called anti-cellulite treatments where they use caffeine. And there is limited evidence that caffeine can help the kind of microcirculation of the skin. And so what I've done in the past is I've taken handfuls of coffee grounds and I've mixed it just with a bit of oil, you know, whatever you like, something inexpensive that you can use in the bath or the shower, and made it into a bit of a paste. You can also add a little bit of salt if you want to make your own body scrub, and just rub that on hips and thighs. Oh, there I go again, giving a bit of a flash. Okay, so before I get cracking with my cooking, I just want to tell you about this dress. This is an Oliver Bonas dress. It was sent to me as a press sample to review by Oliver Bonas. I popped a link on my Instagram. I know, Amy, you'll do it there. It's come up, I think, slightly big. This is a size 10. And, you know, I am normally a 10. I think I'm size 11, actually, which is annoying because sometimes, you know, it's a 10 and sometimes it's a 12 depending on the cut. Marks and Spencer's I find is always quite generous, so I can fit into a 10 quite easily. So this is a 10, but it kind of feels more like a 12. And what I really like about it is it's got nice little short puffy sleeves. It's quite retro, don't you think? I know everyone's talking about spots and polka dots, but it's a shirt-waisted dress, but it's got a tie, which I think is always nice because it means that you can kind of pull it in. And, you know, you see I'm gaping at the front. That's no good, is it? Excuse me for gaping. And, haha, it has pockets. Yes, do love a frock with pockets. And it's on sale. Yes. I think when they first sent it to me, it wasn't, but it's just gone down. I think it's £50. I think it was 75 and now it's 50. Anyway, so we'll pop a link on that. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to stuff mushrooms. Mushroom Monday. I'm trying to find all the good words beginning with M. And yeah, so it's a meat-free mushroom dish, and it comes, if you want to follow it, and you've got my yearbook 2. This is the Liz Earle Wellbeing Yearbook 2 with its rather natty little clothes peg bookmark. Clothes pegs not included. But I have got a stash of these at the farm along with yearbook 1s, and I sign them and send them out. I personally take them in the postal sack to my village post office where the lovely postmistress sends them out. So this one is, the recipe is on page 48. It's quite simple. It's mushrooms there with spinach and garlic with some lovely roasted tomatoes. I don't know if you've been noticing outside in the supermarket or shops or wherever you're able to buy your veggies at the moment, that there's lots of really delicious vine tomatoes. Maybe you've got vine tomatoes growing at home. So these, it's one of my favourite kind of side dishes at the moment. I just take some vine tomatoes, give them a rinse, and crush up a little bit of garlic with a sprinkling of sea salt and some olive oil and just whack it in the oven. And that is it. And honestly, it goes so brilliantly well with anything. You can serve it with fish, with meat, with cheese, on their own. I mean, who doesn't love a nice tomato? I love a nice tomato. So that's the side dish. And of course, if we're talking well-being, then tomatoes are full of lycopene, which is a really important antioxidant, really good for the skin. It's also been shown to be potentially helpful with prostate cancer, so it's good for the guys. Lycopene is very good when the sun comes out because it seems to have a protective effect for the skin. And yeah, so it's a really good thing, obviously a fundamental part of the Mediterranean diet. So I'm going to start this recipe very quickly and then I'm going to answer some questions. Amy sent me some questions on my iPad here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little leek, spinach and leeky filling to go inside the mushrooms. These are my mushrooms. Aren't they handsome, handsome creatures? Portobello mushrooms, look at those. I mean, they're just so gorgeously brilliant. Anyway, that's going to be my lunch in a minute for me and the boys. So I'll pop those to one side. So this recipe, actually, when we first did it, it was at a time when coconut oil was really fashionable. So it has a coconut oil base, but you don't have to use coconut oil. You know, wherever it says coconut oil in a recipe, frankly, you could use extra virgin olive oil. But I'm going to use coconut oil here. And I'm going to use that to cook out a few leeks. I quite like the flavour of coconut oil. I get a bit sick of it. I think, you know, the thing with coconut oil is it's a kind of a Marmite thing, isn't it? You either love it or hate it. And I think you can have too much of a good thing. Oops, got too many things going. Oh, crash. There we are. So I'm just going to melt that down. And then I've got some chopped leeks. This is just one small leek here, which I've chopped. So that's going to go in there, and I'll let that just cook down and soften for a few moments. Sorry to have my back to you. one day soon I shall be able to be here with people operating cameras and things rather than phones. Won't that be fun? We won't know ourselves. My goodness. So yes, I'm going to soften that down, and I'm just checking the recipe. Yeah, then I'm going to use flour and bouillon to make it, cooking it into a paste. I'm going to use a vegan vegetable bouillon, which is really useful and good. Obviously, if you want to make this, could be a vegan recipe if you wanted it to be. I'm not going to make it vegan because I'm going to add some goat's cheese at the end. The recipe actually calls for rice flour. If you're following it from the book, we're making a kind of a roux here, but you don't need to use rice flour. That's really only if you're gluten-free or if you want to use one of the gluten-free flours. I'm going to use spelt flour because that's just kind of the regular flour that I tend to cook with. This is Dove's Farm, which is a really nice organic brand. I like Dove's Farm, I like Sharpen Park. Try and buy organic flours where I can. I've just spied here my coffee. Sorry, I was distracted by coffee grounds and compost. So I had a question earlier about what type of coffee I like to drink, and I love these guys. I've mentioned them before. New Ground Coffee. They are a social enterprise. They're based in Oxfordshire, and they blend and roast beans, and you can subscribe. They have a great subscription service where you tell them how often you drink coffee, what kind of coffee you like, whether you are using a cafetiere or a coffee machine, or so they can absolutely tailor make what you want, and then they just send you it month on month. Packaging is all recyclable and biodegradable. And what I really love, what makes them different, these guys, from lots of other coffee companies who are doing similar things, is they work with ex-offenders. So people who've come out of prison who need rehabilitating back into society, who need some skills training and a job and some prospects. Because statistically, we know that if you can rehabilitate ex-offenders, they are far, far less likely to reoffend. And cause problems and be a drain on society and all those social problems that go with it. So great guys, love what they're doing. And these are the two that I particularly like. So this is one, it's in a blue pack, it's called Monte Carmelo. And this is from Brazil, and it's got notes of hazelnut, raisin and milk chocolate. Doesn't that sound delicious? That's quite smooth. If I want a bit more of a punch, a bit more of a kick, perhaps first thing in the morning, then this is the one that I go for. It's the purple pack, and it's called Shakiso, and that's from Ethiopia. And I know from when I went over to Ethiopia, I spent time there with the charity Tear Fund, because I'm one of their ambassadors. And I mean, Ethiopia runs on coffee. Wherever you go, you drink these tiny, tiny little porcelain cups of really, really strong coffee. And so I love that. That is a bit of gunpowder in the morning. But even better is the fact that we all here get a discount. So if you put Liz Loves on the website at newgroundcoffeecompany.com, newgroundcoffee.com, I think they are, Liz Loves will get you 20% off. So it's a win-win-win, isn't it, for everybody? I can feel, or hear rather, my leeks are burning. That is no good. Oh dear. Well, they're only slightly burning. They're not burning very much. Actually, I think I used the wrong coconut oil because it didn't really melt. What I'm going to do now is pop a little bit of olive oil in there. Hopefully I can salvage this. It's not too burnt actually. I think I caught it just in time. Too much chat, you see. Too much chat. Yeah, I think these will be okay. These are just going to soften down a little bit. It's also because that is the hottest ring there. I need to put it on this one maybe. So there we go. So yeah, I'll pop a little bit more olive oil. I think it's taken quite a bit of olive oil, this recipe, just because I'm going to make my roux with that later. Love olive oil. We've got also a really nice offer code with the Governor olive oil. They do beautiful bottles of olive oil. It's expensive. It's like kind of a fine wine. But again, we've got an offer code, Liz Loves. Sorry, excuse me. And yeah, that gets you a discount. And they do beautiful bottles, white bottles with little leather tags for Father's Day. Really nice gift idea, I think. Anyway, while that is just finishing softening, let me come to a few little questions here. Okay, so I've got some HRT and menopause questions. I hope that you all enjoyed my chat with Dr. Louise Newson on Saturday. She's just so brilliant. And it was great to be joined by 3 other GPs and menopause specialists So great, thank you. Big thanks, because while Louise and I were chatting, they were answering questions on Instagram and on Facebook. Yeah, lots of hearts coming in here. So lots of resources online, you know, if you are in that stage where you want to learn more. And, you know, I was looking at my Instagram this morning, and it's just heartbreaking the number of people who are plucking up courage to go and see their GPs, and then only to find that their GPs are not properly informed. So it's really difficult, and it is something that Louise and I and others will be working really hard to address in the future, because it's a massive healthcare injustice for midlife women, and not just midlife women. Don't forget that 1 in 100 women will have a natural early onset menopause. You know, I was picking up a comment on my Instagram yesterday that said, you know, my GP said I'm too young to have menopausal symptoms at 49. I mean, you know, what are they saying? These people are just... Anyway, let's not go there, because otherwise I'm going to get too cross. And this is Motivational Monday, remember? Okay? We're going to have smiles. But just to say, don't forget that on Liz Earle Wellbeing, I've got 2 e-guides, and I do strongly recommend that you read them if you're interested in this area, in knowing more. One is just the truth about menopause, healthy menopause. It's quite general. The other one is, so it's like a kind of beginner's guide if you're new to all of this. And the other one is very specifically about HRT. It's called The Truth About HRT. And trust me, it is the truth. Okay? So anyway, I just leave it with you out there. This is from Annie on Instagram. How many times of the week do you work out? Well, do you know, Annie, that's an interesting question. I guess it depends. Oh, leaks. It depends what you call working out. Like this morning, I didn't really have very much time, because, I don't know, Mondays always seem to be a bit of a mad day. And so I did some weights. I did some high-intensity weights. So Michael, bless his little heart, has got me lifting really heavy weights now. I can't remember how many kilos. I'll check it out, but, you know, it's quite a lot. And doing bicep curls and all of that kind of thing, plus using my own body weight. So I was doing push-ups and tricep dips, like the ones in A Stronger, Slimmer You in the e-guide. You don't need to buy weights. You can use your own body weight. And so I was doing that, and I only did that really probably for about, I don't know, 20 minutes max. I did a little bit of skipping as well. And I got cross because I kept tripping over. I was just cross at myself because it wasn't working so well this morning. So yeah, I mean, I try and do something every day, and it might not be a proper kind of workout. It might just be a really long walk, or it might be a run, or it might be a bit of online yoga or Pilates with the lovely Natalie, who's still doing her 6 o'clock Instagram lives. If you want to join her, she's just great. We featured her in the magazine. She's got lots of Pilates things. If you've got your back issues of Liz Earle Wellbeing magazine, obviously you can find those. So yeah, it's about moving. It's about doing something. And you know, the body loves variety. The body loves it when we do different things. So it doesn't like it if we just go running or we just do push-ups or whatever. It's all about different things and moving and turning and all of that. So what am I doing now? Right, so now I'm going to add that bouillon powder. So I think it's just a teaspoon of this from memory. Teaspoon of the vegetable bouillon powder, which is going into my mixture. And then I'm going to add my flour. Again, you know, you can use a gluten-free flour if you want to, or a rice flour like it says in the recipe, or I'm just using spelt flour. And I am using, how much does it say to be using? A tablespoon. Okay, so a tablespoon of the flour. And then I will mix that all in together. So this is just making a classic roux, okay? It's just, you know, your flour and oil or flour and butter. So I'm going to mix that all in, and then I'm going to add some milk. Now the recipe in the book calls for almond milk because it's making it as a plant-based dish, totally plant-based. I have got some almond milk because my middle daughter drinks almond milk, so I'm not going to use that because she'll probably want that later. So I'm going to use regular, normal milk, if I can find it. Excuse me, there we go. So this is my normal whole milk. I use whole milk for absolutely everything. And you just add a little bit of milk, a little bit at a time so it doesn't go lumpy. This, by the way, is from my local milk vending machine. You may have seen me demonstrating that or talking about it. Lots and lots of you wanted to know where these vending machines are, and we found, I think, over 100 of them around the country. So do look them up online. There is an article that Betty, who is the lovely picture editor in my team, she was tasked with tracking down all the milk vending machines in the UK, and there are also some in the Republic of Ireland as well that we've been able to link to. So do take a look, and if you think that we've missed one near you, then please let us know. But I love these because you've got your glass bottles, so you're not buying in plastic, and then you clean them and then you refill them, and you literally just take your bottles to the vending machine. Contactless, you tap your card, in comes the milk. It's £1 a litre, and all that money goes to the family-run farm. It doesn't go to the middlemen, the processors. You're keeping all the milk lorries off the road. It is a really, really good idea. So I wonder if I dare risk leaving that on there to cook out a bit. I'm going to try, and if I go off on one and get carried away, will you please tell me? Because I might forget it. I don't know why my Instagram always seems to freeze, so I can't read. Caffeine body scrub, great for thighs. Yes, Marcia, give that a go. Lucci, absolutely. I use mine for body scrubs. Never throw away your coffee grounds. Excellent. Any SPF creams you recommend? Yes, there's a whole feature on lizearlewellbeing.com about SPFs, and we're obviously going to be doing more. A couple of people asking when the new magazine is coming out. So the new magazine will be out at the beginning of July, so not long. We're just doing the finishing touches. I was literally just approving the cover this morning, which is good. It's looking really lovely. So it's a beautiful issue. And there's quite a lot about SPFs in there. Purchased your e-guides on HRT and menopause. Easy reading, so informative. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for that. Sarah, thank you for all your tips. Very nice to have you. Very nice to have you with me. So, just checking on this recipe. Right, so I'm going to thicken out that sauce. So that I basically made a roux, and I've used in there some finely chopped leeks. And I just think leek and mushroom, you know, it goes really well together. It's a really nice combo. If you don't have leeks, you could use spring onions. They're a really good substitute for leeks, or you could just use onions. You know, just finely chopped onions would be absolutely fine. So after this, I am going to stir in my nutmeg and my spinach and my flat leaf parsley. Okay, so this I bought, because mine wasn't ready in the garden, I bought 2 bags of organic spinach, and I cooked them yesterday, and this is what you get. Isn't it amazing how it just disappears? You know, it was 2 big bags, so it's always worth remembering. You nearly had me, but I got there just in time. So yeah, do remember that these huge bags of spinach just cook out to, you know, next to nothing. Let me shut that lid down, otherwise I'm going to boil in here. Excuse me, I do have to sometimes kind of blot my chin because, just drop that. It does get a bit hot when you're cooking in the kitchen. And I know, Facebook, I've tried to open a window and then you complain that it sounds like there's a howling gale, so I'll just get hot, okay? So into my mixture here, that's what it's looking like now. Hope you can see it. I am going to put my spinach. So I have got in here, probably using too much spinach actually. I'm using 2 big packs of spinach. I didn't even think to weigh it. What am I using there? 100 grams of baby leaf spinach. I think I probably got more than that, but never mind. It's going to be all the more good for us, isn't it? All the more good for us. And then I'm going to pop a little bit of nutmeg in that. Spinach and nutmeg is also a really good combination. So if you're cooking up spinach, you know, you might want to drizzle it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, a little sprinkling of nutmeg. I also love garlic spinach. I love ginger spinach. You can grate some ginger root into your spinach. That's also a really good one. But this recipe is calling for nutmeg, so I'm going to be well behaved and just do as I'm told in the recipe. So I've put in a sprinkling of nutmeg, and then a little bit of flat leaf parsley is also going in there. But I'm going to keep some of that actually for the end because it's quite nice to put it on the top as decor. Then what I'm going to do with this is I'm then going to basically stuff my mushrooms. And it was, I think the late great Shirley Conran, who said life is too short to stuff a mushroom. And I think she was talking about possibly the little tiny ones. Do you remember in the 70s? I know most of you aren't old enough for this, but in the 70s you used to kind of have cheese and wine parties and get pineapple chunks on sticks and things and stuffed mushrooms. So you used to get the little tiny sort of button mushrooms, and there were recipes where you could fill a piping bag with like cream cheese and stuff them. Anyway, she wrote a sort of anti-housekeeping book about being superwoman and just saying, you know, life is too short to stuff a mushroom. Well, Shirley, in your honour, I'm going to stuff a mushroom, but these are rather large, beautiful ones. They won't take me any time. So the recipe is from my yearbook 2, okay? It's really simple though, so you'll be able to follow it. It's not complicated. This is yearbook 2. And so that is essentially what I'm doing. I'm stuffing a mushroom and serving it with some grilled, well, baked sprig tomatoes, vine tomatoes, with a little bit of olive oil and sea salt. But my yearbooks, in case you don't know, they're divided into sections. So it's spring, summer, autumn, winter. And they are just filled with seasonal recipes and beauty ideas and well-being, wisdom and gardening and all sorts. So there's a whole thing about honey here. This is in yearbook 2. Remember we were talking about honey there? These are lovely, all the different flavoured waters that you can make. Arrangements, flower arrangements. That's a really fun one using a pineapple, a hollowed out pineapple. So I just love them because they're seasonal, so you can just dip into them at any time of year and think, right, what's seasonal, what's available, what's fresh, and just get some new ideas. That's yearbook 2. Yearbook 1 is the same but different, if you see what I mean. So this is yearbook 1. This was the first one that I did. You can see I use it all the time. I've got all my sticky notes in here. And this one, again, it's divided into the seasons. So it's spring, summer, autumn, winter. That's a really great recipe, actually, this one. Buckwheat crepes with apples and blueberries. Really, really delicious. Nettle pesto. That's how fabulous is nettle pesto. Lot of beauty bars. My famous beauty bars are in there. Lots of chocolatey things. Oh, that's the rose petal granola. Oh, my goodness. Let me know if you make the rose petal granola. That's it there. Well, it's actually just a picture of the rose petals. But it is amazing. I love this comment. Liz, I'm excited to make the Christmas tree from canes and a log, which is in yearbook 2. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really fun, isn't it, to think ahead. I mean, these are some of the fun ideas. This is all about pumpkin carving. So this is in the autumn section. I mean, look, how great are they? Really easy to do these things. You know, I'm not a big fan of Halloween. I don't like the whole macabre, ghoulish thing. And I don't like trick-or-treating, but I love being able to decorate and celebrate harvest and all of that. So, yeah, lots of positive things. And as you say, lots of fun things for Christmas. Oh, look at those. Little elderflower sparkling berry jellies. If you're going to make elderflower cordial or drink elderflower cordial in the summer, look, you can make your own jellies in glasses and just put summer fruit. So it wouldn't have to be for, Christmas time, which is what I've done for here. Anyway... pop that down to one side. So let's finish off these mushrooms. So I've got my lovely mixture here. That's what it looks like in there. So that's with my spinach and my leeks and my seasonings. And I'm just literally going to stuff my mushrooms. This dress is gaping. I'm sorry, I need to put a pin in it, don't I? Maybe buy a size smaller. Right, so that is going in there like this. Oh my goodness. I don't know about you, but I love mushrooms. But they're very indigestible raw. It's really important to cook mushrooms. But they are, they are a kind of a Marmite thing again, aren't they? Half my family love them, half loathe them. Oh, excuse me. It's the end of my hay fever. Right, there we go. So there we are. There we have 4 beautifully stuffed mushrooms, which I shall show you. Ta-da! Look rather good, don't they? Quite substantial, actually. I mean, that is quite a hefty meal. Now, if you were preparing this for a plant-based eater, you could maybe sprinkle that with breadcrumbs. You could maybe use some tofu or something on top. I'm going to use one of my favourite goat's cheeses because it just cooks really well. And it's called, I've got the pack here to show you. I mentioned this before. You may have seen the little Instagram story I did on visiting my local cheese shop. This is clean goat Gouda. So this is an Irish cheese, and it's from Killeen, and it's really lovely and creamy, and it's a goat's milk Gouda. It is absolutely delicious. So, and my kids eat it. You know, they just come and take chunks off it, where you can see where they've been kind of at it. So I am going to use, I've just cut some slices here of the goat Gouda, and I'm just going to place those on top of my mushroom, and then pop that in the oven just to melt. You could use a soft goat's cheese if you wanted. You know, you can get the kind of goat's cheese roundels, the little kind of roulade-y type things. That would work really well. But this is, it's just got such a nice flavour, this one. Just going to cut a little bit more to finish that off. And goat's cheese is also more digestible. So goat's milk is easier to digest than cow's milk because the fat molecules are smaller, because goats are smaller. So that is how that works. So there we go. So I don't know if I'll have time to show these. I don't think I'm going to have time to show them out of the oven. I'll pop a picture on my Instagram when these come out of the oven. That's basically it. They're going to go into the oven. And better not forget them. And I'm going to serve those with these lovely vine cherry tomatoes. So these I've just roasted just for 10-15 minutes in a hot oven. I've drizzled them with extra virgin olive oil, sprinkled them with salt and pepper and a little bit of crushed garlic, just because. And yeah, that's going to go really well with my veggie lunch. Now, a couple of things here to show you before I head off. Oh, by the way, I'm really sorry that Lil is not with us. She was going to be joining me in the kitchen, and she's not well. So for all of you who have asked about her, we send you huge hearts, Lil. We do. We send you hearts. We love you and we miss you here. So hopefully we'll be back together a bit later in the week. So let's see. Yeah, fingers crossed on that one. What are your thoughts on heating olive oil? As I've heard, it turns the fat into one the body cannot process, i.e. trans fat. No, it doesn't. Olive oil is actually very stable at high temperatures. And yeah, a lot of studies done on that. So no, it doesn't turn into a trans fat. You need to be very careful with your seed oils. So I don't actually cook with any seed oils. I try not to use any seed oils at all. I don't use sunflower seed or sesame seed. Not sesame seed, safflower seed. Corn oil I don't use. Any of the polyunsaturated oils I don't heat. And try and avoid where I can. So I pretty much use olive oil for everything, maybe a bit of coconut, use a bit of rapeseed oil every now and then. Asking about the offer codes. Yes, so we've still got, the Beauty Pie offer, that's still going. If you want your month's membership free for Beauty Pie, then you just put Liz Loves in the checkout box at Beauty Pie. And also if you want your free magazines, then we've got a link where if you go there, you will be able to sign up for a month's free digital magazines of any magazine. So you get Liz Earle Wellbeing, you get all the others as well. I know lots and lots of you have done that. So Amy, I know that you'll pop a link on Facebook, and there is a link on Linktree for Insta, guys, if you just head there. Or on the Liz Earle Wellbeing website. If you just scroll down where it says shop, and it'll come to where it says digital magazine. If you click on that, you'll see that there's a link to Readly, and if you add to basket, then it takes you through the process, and it actually then gives you the free month, and you can cancel after a month. So if you don't like it, just have a month of downloading loads of free magazines to your heart's content, including Modern Cat, as I discovered when I was having a look at all the different ones that you could download. So yeah, it's just a lovely thing. It's nice to be able to share free stuff, to be honest. What else can I tell you? I've got my box here. I was asked about Father's Day and a few things. This is the Salcombe Dairy box. The tide is going down every day guys, if you are in my fam and you are watching this, I have your card marked because I'm counting. There's supposed to be 10 bars in there, and I think there's only about 7 left. But you get this beautiful box with the kind of sailing ship design, so it's quite masculine, and I just think it's a lovely gift for Father's Day. And they're really lovely people. You probably saw on my Instagram story when I mentioned that Lily couldn't have chocolate because of the cocoa being one of the factors that can aggravate histamine, which is something that we're looking at. They really sweetly sent her a box of white chocolate because she can have white chocolate with histamine. So, I mean, some of the ones here, milk chocolate with caramel and sea salt. Do you love salt and chocolate? I do. There's a dark chocolate, milk chocolate orange. Dark chocolate with ginger, that's a really delicious one. Dark chocolate with cacao nibs, oh goodness. Dark chocolate with peppermint, that's one of my favourites. It's probably one of the lower sugar ones as well, actually, because you know me, I'm always flicking over and reading the label for sugar. Milk chocolate honeycomb and evening star with coffee. Oh look, I've just spotted this. A darker milk chocolate with Kenyan coffee beans. Yes, thank you. Shout out to my friends in Kenya. Speaking of, you will have seen me talk about these guys, Koi Clothing, little Kenyan-based company, and I just love their Kikoi fabrics. Kikoi fabrics are these stripy ones, and they make these Kikoi bow ties, which I just thought for Father's Day would be a really fun thing. And again, 20% off with Liz Loves. And no, I'm not paid to say that. I just like them. And there was a very nice little shoot that we did at home on the farm with my middle son, and he made his modelling debut, if you like, modelling some of their lovely linen shirts that have these striped inside of the collars and the turned back cuffs, which is just such a nice detail. I think that's about it today. Oh, one other thing. I've got this here in front of me. This is the Holos kombuchas. Lots of you asking about this. They do a really good subscription where you can sign up to get 12 or 24 bottles of kombucha delivered to your door, and they are the real deal. This is one of my favourite ones. I drink this in a glass, in a wine glass, like rosé, and you can see it's real because it's got the actual bits of kombucha in it. That's what you want, okay? So don't go, ooh, it's got stuff in it. You want that because that's the live bit. Obviously, you can sieve it out if you don't want to have it, but I'm quite happy to have it in the bottom of my glass. But what I love about these guys, well, girls really, they were founded by 5 women, 5 friends in London, is they support victims of sexual trafficking and human slavery, modern slavery. They support them in, again, giving them the skills to teach them how to make kombucha, all of that, and their profits go back into that. So it's a really another lovely company, like New Ground Coffee, you know, supporting people. Isn't it great to find these smaller brands, you know, because we've all got to buy stuff, you know, we're all going to buy coffee, aren't we? Well, not all of us, but a lot of us are going to buy coffee. So if you're going to buy it, or you're going to buy a soft drink, why don't you buy one that does you good, because it's the real kombucha, it's the real deal, and it does some good for others as well. And again, they've given us a discount code. So Liz Loves gets you 20% off, I think it is, on Holos Kombucha. Anyway, Amy, I know you'll pop links up. There's links to everything. You know, we've got so many of these things going on at the moment. If you head over to lizourwellbeing.com, scroll to the section that says Liz Loves, and you'll find everything there. So most of what I talk about, you will find on the website. Pretty much all of it, actually. And on Linktree, you'll find it for Instagram. And Amy, I know you'll pop lots of links up too. So thank you for being with me today. It's really nice to be back with you. Let's keep smiling. Let's keep cheerful. Let me know if you make anything. If you make anything, I'm loving sharing all your pictures. It's really nice to see. I shared pictures over the weekend of handmade rose petal soaps and scobies with homemade kombuchas and rose petal granolas in jars. I mean, it's just lovely. It's just a lovely, lovely, great community to share. So I shall be back with you. Same time, same place tomorrow with lots more good things. If you have anything that you'd like me to talk about, then please pop me a comment. I don't do direct message on Instagram, I'm sorry, but I do reply to comments. And also the same goes for Facebook. So thank you. Have a lovely rest of the day. Take care. Lots of love. See you tomorrow. Bye.